guys, this is Ray and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to share with you a few tips and tricks that you can implement in your life quite easily to increase your performance and productiveness. A lot of us who are working from home or studying at home, you have to be like a bit more like disciplined and really also make a kind of like routine in your day. So I have a few tips and tricks that I think is really useful. At least it helped me a lot, and I know it helps a lot of people as well when applying these tools. So let me get straight into it, and I hope this will really help you to also become more productive. And what they call a peak performer. So let me share with you right now. Before I get into like some of the exercise or tools that I would highly recommend, I created a list that I learned a couple of years ago about how to become like a better performer or high performance, and that is kind of like to understand like why these exercise or tools are really helpful to reach these elements that are the characteristics of like a high performer. So I will go into like the 6 elements. The first one is scheduling the time. So scheduling your time in the sense of you are aware of like how much time you have in a day and how would you allocate them, because we don't have endless time. So if you know how much time you have, then that means that you know like how much can fit in that time. So being optimistic is good. But being too optimistic, it might be that you're not able to complete all your tasks, and that means that you're trying to like over deliver, or you'll be like overloaded because you think you can get more done or not. So being realistic and scheduling your time is part of like a peak performer. Prioritizing workload, and I have a very good exercise at the end of this video, or like in the middle of the video, that will talk about how to prioritize your workloads based on like importance. And then the other one, the number 3, is focus your energy, because at least I know I sometimes still do it. We try to like multitask, and then we try to do like so many things at the same time, but then you don't get anything done. So that is one thing. So focus your energy and don't have like scattered energy. Number 4 is value feedback. So like be agile. So we sometimes like think that we know better, or we have always done it in a certain way, and sometimes you just have to kind of like trial and error and find out if there's like a different kind of way that works actually better. So value feedback is a very important characteristic of a high performer, and just get it done. Sometimes we kind of like are too perfectionist, and we think, okay, maybe we have to go over it again. I know that I have that a lot of times as well, but sometimes we just get it done and just like be happy that it's done, and just be pleased with the quality of work, and don't doubt yourself. And then the final one is like really being self-aware. What kind of person are you? How do you work best? Are you a morning person? Are you an evening person? Are you like a midday person? What kind of person are you? And how do you work better, like in what kind of circumstances? Yeah. So those are the kind of like the 6 characteristic of like a high performer. And I go through like some of the tips and tricks that I will like highly suggest you to implement in your day to become like a better performer, to get like more things done, become like more productive. Okay, so let me get into this. It's not in like a particular order, but I just written them down because sometimes I do have to remind myself on like what helps me to become like a better performer. So I spoke a bit about like multitasking. So multitasking is a very interesting concept, because we think like if we have like 6 things to do and we do all the 6 things a little bit, then we feel like we have done something. But at the same time, it's what they said in like studies is when you if you focus your attention on one thing and you get distracted, it takes like 25 minutes, 23 to 25 minutes to get back into like your same level of productivity. So what is actually better is to like schedule your day and list down like how much time each task takes, and then just get it done, the first one, and then go to the next one, and then go to the next one, instead of like focus your energy on like so many things, because then you get nothing done. So multitasking is actually not really making you productive or getting things done. So if you have 6 tasks and you try to do every task and like every single task at the same time, but then then you realize that you're like, every time you switch a task, you waste 25 minutes in between. And what I also would say in this, like, multitasking is also like when you do work, I have this as well, like my email pops up and I just quickly read it and I get distracted. And to get into your work again, especially when the email is like urgent, it takes like 23 minutes to get back to your work. So sometimes you just have to schedule like time in your diary to make sure that, though, this is the time that I go through my emails. Maybe that is every 2 hours you go through your emails, and then you just deal with your emails, and then you deal with different kind of tasks. So multitasking is not that effective, and I would just highly recommend, my tip that I would say as well is going through like the first thing in your day and making kind of like a list of things that needs to be done. And how you can do that is actually making a list like this. So, and what is important, what is not important, and what is not important. So if you have this like diagram, you can fill it out like, of these 10 things, what is urgent and important, do it first. And that's what they call like eat the frog. So if it's urgent and it's important, like, do it first, because if you do that big thing in the morning, you just feel like so much weight off your shoulders. And they also say like, you in the morning your mind is the clearest, so do the big task of the eat the frog the first thing in the morning, and you feel like the rest of your day will be more productive. And then you don't have to, then you also, your focus is much stronger in the beginning of the day. So do it first. So I would also highly recommend to fill in this diagram like every single morning, and then just see like, okay, what's actually in that box of urgent and important. Put them on the top of your list. Go down in the sense of like, what's important, and not that urgent. What is urgent and not important, and just kind of like going through like that diagram and really filling them in. And then you can make that list of like, what do I need to do today, and what can I delegate, or what can I do tomorrow. And then you really realize it, not everything is important, and some things you can push back. So this diagram is so important as well. So create this diagram so you know which big frog you have to eat first. Really help your productiveness in the day, and it makes you more focused, and it makes you also deliver a better quality of work. Okay, so that is like one tip like that I would really recommend. Then everybody is very, very different from each other. So what works for me might not work for you, or it might not work for somebody else. So really knowing in yourself, what kind of worker are you? Do you work better like alone? Do you work better like with people around you? Do you work better with music on? Do you work better without music on? So what kind of person are you? Are you more like a morning person, or are you more like an evening person? Because if you know what kind of person you are, you can like create your environment to adapt to that kind of to your personality. So for example, like I work actually much better when I'm by myself. I have relaxing music on, and I'm a morning person. So I know, for example, when I was writing my book, the first thing that I did, I was waking up in the morning, and before I did anything else, like without checking emails, without being distracted with social media, I started writing my book. And I allocate like 4 hours every morning to write my book, like in the weekend. So I really realized that really helped me, because I was really pushing myself, and I was just like focused. I had no distraction, and had like 100% my attention to writing my book. So that's really like a tip that I will just like suggest, that it's so important to know yourself and make the environment adapt to your personality. Okay, so those actually like were the tips that I would like actually really recommend. I think like a few things as well is that we have to also make sure that we take really good care of ourselves during the day. So take regular breaks, get creative, set expectations for yourself, but also the people around you. Just be realistic, be positive, and even though if there's like a very, very big task and you think, I can't do this task, just push through. And then you know that when you push through, you just really realize that you came much further than you thought. And if you push through and you push through, you get outside of your comfort zone, you just really recognize what your limits actually are. So be positive, like you can do it. Yeah, you can do anything, and as long as your mind is set to it. So I hope this video is really really helpful. Yeah, I think like these tips at least are very useful like at these times, especially when we're working from home, we're like more disciplined but we still want to perform as our highest capability. So let me know if these tips have helped you, and yeah, and then I'll speak to you in my next video. Bye for now.